I've got 9 o'clock. If everybody can join us for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, everybody. If I could get a approval for the agenda as presented, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the minutes of the October 20th, 2025 regular meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Approve the employee claims filed with County Auditor for $669.52.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve the satellite PEO election claims filed with County Auditor for $706.45.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve the resignation of Thomas Reidy, secondary roads, effective November 3rd, 2025.
43 years and 9 months.
All deserved.
I'll make the motion to accept the resignation.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Items for discussion. Discuss labor law services. Both here from both Ayers, Foodie and Lynch Dallas. Want to come up, Ashley? Or?
The one you received from Lynch Dallas was strictly for the bargaining. And then the one from Ayers and Cooney, they gave 2 different proposals. One would be a monthly fee. And the other one would be like a as-is service. And we basically have a relationship with them right now. Also, it would be as an addition of having them do the bargaining when those contracts come due.
Before we had a separate person do the labor laws, correct? And she is now retiring.
That is correct. She retires the end of December. So we'll have to get, I mean, our contracts are 3-year contracts. They went into effect July 1, so we have time. But we probably should get something in place, God forbid, is that there's some type of grievance filed. We don't want to be caught not having the ability to take care of that issue.
So they didn't bid them the same. We didn't bid apples to apples.
No, we did not, because we already have Ayers and Cooney as a HR attorney. We've had them for years.
It would have been nice to know just what they would have done that portion for.
I wasn't director of that, so.
Well, currently with our Allers and Cooney one, it is on an hourly basis, not a contractual monthly fee. What they're quoting is $2,500 a month if we were to go on a monthly fee, but I would not encourage that. That's, I guess, up for board discussion.
Yeah, the monthly fee doesn't make sense in this case.
Right? What's just the add-on of the labor?
It's just a straight hourly rate proposal. We use Ann Smizik, it's $300 an hour. Jeffrey Edgar is $275 an hour.
Okay, and Lynch Dallas came in as their shareholders at $310 an hour, associated attorneys $260 an hour, and legal assistants $170. So it's
Very
Pretty-
close.
pretty close.
Did they just do hourly for the labor part of it?
Dallas
For
Lynch,
everything, yeah.
Dallas
Okay.
Lynch, it was strictly for the bargaining end of it.
Right, but it was hourly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have your thoughts you want to share?
If I would be able to make a decision, I would go with Ayers and Cooney. Because we've been working with them for years and they, I mean, they're great. I just went to an employment seminar there. And they specialize in public sector. And the ones that I communicate with are specifically for counties or cities. And they have ones for schools, but the ones that we communicate with are specifically for public sector counties. So,
So is Lynch Dallas. That's all we do.
but yeah, I would say because of the relationship we've had with them for years and how helpful they've been, even with my short time here.
Nice.
Nope, that's all.
I just don't want us to get stuck in the thinking of, we've always done it this way, so let's continue to do it this way.
Yeah, I'm kind of the mind, if we have established a relationship with Lynch Dallas, then we have, an established relationship with both. And I mean, not that you'd ever want an attorney shop, but it's kind of nice to be able to hear the different perspectives, so.
Yeah, I don't like that saying either, but I work very closely with them. I know it's not my decision, but Ehlers and Cooney, I mean, they are fantastic. They are worth every penny. Again, maybe I assume Lynch Dallas probably is too. I mean, they're probably both
Sure.
fantastic, but that's what all I have to say is I'm in support of those guys.
I'm leaning toward Lynch. Reason to go otherwise. I'll make the motion. You want to accept Lynch Dallas's proposal
For the labor attorney, for the labor,
for the labor, exactly.
For the bargaining only.
Yes, sir.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Thank you, Aaron.
Yep, thank you guys.
Jason, discuss the audio video upgrade for the meeting.
You know,
These are two different quotes.
oh, different from the one that's prior.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Just got the other quote on Friday. All right. Long and the short of it, I've had a couple complaints from the public, online, in person, etc., that the meeting recording through the OWL is not the highest quality. So they might not be able to hear the public that's speaking in the very back. They may not be able to hear the board speaking, just in general. So it's something as far as a microphone, speakers, better cameras, things of that nature. The quote provided to you is two different quotes, one through Office Town to upgrade from our existing, the OWL that we utilize. They would come in, their quote is $3,862.09. And then working with another company out of Waterloo called Maximum Sight and Sound. They came in, they're doing a quote for some of the work out at the EOC for some upgrades potentially. So I had them come out here and just throw some numbers, see what it would cost. Their quote's $15,110.
Significant difference.
Is that pretty much the same system or is it like a different system?
It's kind of different. It comes down to the camera qualities, the microphone setup, etc. The nitty-gritty details I'm not 100% certain of. I don't specialize in video audio. What it sounds like, Maximum Sight and Sound's thing is that we utilize Teams for all of our meetings. So they'd have to piggyback two systems on top of each other to make it all work correctly. And it would put in a touchscreen controls for you to be able to control where the cameras are pointed and the mics and all that. So, yeah. That's if we wanted to upgrade it at all. That's your folks' decision.
Thank you for doing it.
As far as the microphones to pick up in the back of the room better. Hope they have a microphone from the ceiling or?
Yes. Yeah, we discussed having potentially a microphone in the drop ceiling here at the front, potentially one in the back, and that would kind of be ideal, but we might get interference if someone's seated somewhere in the middle. It might pick up on both. So Maximum Sight and Sound suggested just one drop microphone in the middle that could pick up the whole room. Go from that instead of the microphone built into the OWL that's kind of center front. Yeah. Then camera upgrades, be able to zoom in, PTZ zoom on whoever's speaking, wherever they're wanting to stand. The controls, speakers built into the drop ceiling for better clarity for the audience, things of that nature. It just kind of depends on how much you folks want to spend on it. And again, we're not obligated to spend anything. If you folks are happy with the way the owl is performing right now, we can just stick with that.
With this system, it says, dynamic handheld microphone with dust band, so are saying that that there will be 3 stands, or I guess.
This is her office sound you're looking at?
Yeah.
I believe this would be a floating handheld microphone. If someone wanted to speak, let's say a public comment, they'd be handed the microphone and it'd be wireless to pick up on the system. So they could just be handed it and be wherever they wanted to be in the room.
It's like there's 3 of them.
Yeah, there's probably one for the board, one for the auditor, and one for the public. Yeah, I just had them, I believe it was Brett or Ryan with Off Sound come out and just give me an idea of what would it take to upgrade everything.
What would that do to the camera?
The camera is separate. That was the PTZ wall mountable HDMI camera, one for the board, one for the audience. So I'm not sure which brand they went through with that quote compared to Maximum Sight and Sound. But yeah, it's $2,200 for the cameras alone.
So in that camera, would it do like the owl does every time one of us wiggles and yells? Zooms to the-
That can, depending on what the back end system is that they're running. It says in the description, one for the board, one for the audience. I'm guessing it would be a static camera pointed towards the board, and then one that's potentially movable that would pick up on the motion. That's where the PTZ zoom would kick in, depending on the make and model and everything else. It's kind of hard to compare it apples to apples because they didn't give us the exact make and model of everything. So if one's going through a Walmart brand camera versus one from Samsung or something, it's difficult to compare them.
The mayor's here, I was gonna ask him, I know on your cameras down there, they flip back and forth between the audience and the dais up there.
Correct. It's
But
only
that's
those,
controlled by whoever's running it, right? Or does it happen automatically?
it happens automatically as far as I know.
Okay,
But just from my perspective in terms of here, sometimes it's really hard, especially when you're in the back, to hear the 3 of you. So if, I mean, 90% of your meetings are the 3 of you speaking as opposed to somebody else speaking, or somebody that's speaking up front here.
Right.
As opposed to somebody in the back. I'd be more concerned about making sure we hear you than we are somebody in the back, and they just need to stand up and speak louder. It would be my
might come up to the front maybe.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, like a designated spot for them to speak up.
Well, I mean, obviously in our council, we have a podium. When anybody is speaking, they're supposed to come up to the podium. And that's why the cameras are focused on that as opposed to the audience itself. And then, but each council member and myself and the city manager all have microphones in front of us individually. I would hope that we can hear us better. We've had so many problems with our sound system over the years, and I hope we've got it corrected at this point.
You're hoping.
I am. It's terrible. I mean, especially, yours is televised too, but I mean, we have a lot of people that can't, it was so staticky at times, and then it would cut out. I mean, we probably in the last 2 years have had 3 or 4 different times where we brought somebody out specifically to try to remedy the problems. It's a difficult.
And it's a 15-year-old problem.
That's right.
They've had forever.
That's right.
Who put this system in?
I don't know. Sorry.
I think Office Town fixed it the last time.
I think Office Town fixed it the last time. I think that's the best fix we've had. I know that in the past, we brought somebody in from out of the city. And I don't think we got as good a service on it.
Where are we at budget-wise? Is this in your budget or something we have to budget for?
This would be something you folks would have to budget for.
So it's something we have to consider for next year's budget if we have.
I could budget it for next fiscal. I just don't have it on my budget this year.
So it looks like we have two decisions to make. First and foremost, do we want to upgrade? And then secondly, if we do want to upgrade, how much we want to budget and who do we want to go with? How much of an upgrade do we want?
Well, I think for the, to respect our citizens, we need to have high quality video and audio that they can hear and understand. And I think the office town one looks like a fairly reasonable investment that would have long-term benefits. And that's my opinion. You got an opinion?
Yeah, the conversation about having the dynamic microphone, the portable microphone. I'm not convinced either that we would need 3 of them, but you always get a primary and a secondary and something like that, so. And it typically happens that only one of us has a cold up here at a time, so hopefully that minimizes how much we'd actually need to pass it around. But, I mean, those are my thoughts on it. I mean, like you said, folks need to be able to hear us.
I know in Jessup, they have like the portable mics and then they attach them to their, each place has one.
Wall mic or something?
Yeah, to their clothes at the beginning of the meeting and take it off when they're done. And that seems to pick people's voices up relatively well.
And once you have the system, then you can start identifying whether or not you need additional microphones or things like that. There's other things in the area that we could kind of mess around with, I guess.
Another option might be, since you're not gonna do it in this fiscal year, would be to wait till you get closer to the next fiscal year and then give specifics to 2 or 3 vendors and say that, that way you're comparing apples to apples as opposed to, different systems and you're quoting on the best, what's best for you.
Oh, you had a question?
Yeah, the room is not that big. I think, what really needs to really happen is many times, John, I can hear your voice, but Keith and Dawn, about half the time, I can only hear about half what you say when you sit in the back of the room. How about just raising your voice tone up an octave, and put a little bit more luggage behind us so everybody can hear it,
Not good for
It's like,
what are we talking
I
about?
never have a problem with people hearing my voice,
If I raise my voice, so then people think I'm yelling.
Well, that's
And then I
better.
get in trouble.
It'd be nice to hear everything you say, though.
Well, we'll continue this discussion at a later time. We have a public hearing at 9:15. We're a couple minutes late. We're the Amfahr. So we're in.
You gonna pick this up another day or later in this week? It is. Sounds good. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Yeah, motion to open the public hearing. Or-
You get a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're now in public hearing. Amber.
So, this original request, they are looking at taking 3 acres and rezoning it from A1 agricultural to R3 residential. They're looking at splitting the parcel directly right down the middle, splitting it in 2. The request is located in section 32 of Fremont Township. We had 4 neighbors that were notified of the rezoning request. We did not have a response from any. For the application, for the split, again, they're just looking at 1.5 acres on each side. As far as setbacks, they will be met. There's no concerns with that. The septic system will need to be upgraded on the house since it was exempt when Amber's purchased it from the estate auction. The well on the property serves the house and the shed, so there will need to be an easement agreement for that. Sorry, shared well agreement. And same goes for the driveway as well. Since there's only going to be one existing, that also needs to have that shared agreement. It is not located in the floodplain. CSRs were 80% 90 CSR, excuse me, and 20% 87 CSR. The average traffic daily count is 760 vehicles per day. Revenue to the county, if this is approved, is the rezoning fee, property taxes, septic permit, minor plat, since this property does not qualify for farmstead exemption. And Ryan is here if you guys do have any additional questions that I can't answer.
My understanding, reading through this has been a farmstead forever, and it's never really been a crops or anything, right?
Great.
Correct.
Then what's on the picture?
So we're just adding a house to the bins.
So we're not adding a house to the other side. It's just going to remain the shed and the bins. In the future, whoever owns that side, if they want to tear those out, they could put up a house.
Questions? Pretty simple.
Yes,
Right.
straightforward. It's not taking any eggland out of production. Yes, the CSR is high, but again, it's been a farmstead forever.
Looks like planning and zoning recommended for approval on this one.
Sorry, yes, I didn't know that. Yes, planning and zoning recommended for approval with a vote of 6-1.
Was there any specifics on that or any variations?
As far as the one that did not vote.
No, as far as do it like driveways or anything like that, any special?
Nothing special other than just the shared driveway and well will need to be shared. Yep.
Well, technically only powers the hydrant in the building too, so that could always just be cut.
Any other questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. You're approved, right?
There you go.
You're good. Thank you. Thanks. Ready to open the next public hearing. Public hearing for Cole and Allison Davis zoning request. I need a motion to open the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. We're now in public hearing.
Excuse me, so the applicants are looking at taking 2 acres, as you can see in the red outline from the center of the field, rezoning it from A1 agricultural to R1 residential. This request is located in section 10 of Cono Township. We had 2 neighbors that were notified with 1 response. I will read the letter that was provided to us. So to Buchanan County Planning and Zoning Commission, I, Kevin Heiserman, own property next to Larry and Nadine Chesmore, that they would like to rezone the 2 acres. I have farmed this 40 acres for over 20 years, and I have no problem with the single family dwelling in the location they are requesting. If any zoning commission people have any questions, I can be contacted at, and he listed his phone number. Thank you, Kevin and Anita Heiserman. That was the only response that we had from the request. This is not located in the floodplain. If it's approved, they will need a septic and a well to be established. There were 60 vehicles per day. Revenue to the county, should this be approved, is the rezoning fee, property taxes, septic permit, well permit, minor plat, potential driveway permit, unless they use the existing, which we've discussed is already established. You just can't really tell very well from the pictures. And then if that driveway permit is needed, then that will be approved by secondary roads. The CSR, Beacon showed 75% 74 CSR and 25% 87 CSR. And the assessor's site showed the 64 CSR, sorry, 75% at the 64 CSR and 25% at 87. You all received a copy of the email that Allison had shared to you guys, as far as some questions or things that maybe that they wanted to discuss. I did just kind of come up with a rebuttal statement, just to address some of those questions potentially. So while this request only involves approximately 2 acres, it's important to recognize that allowing such rezonings can create precedents. If similar requests were approved in the future, the cumulative impact could significantly reduce available agricultural land, especially in areas with high CSR rating. Regarding the question of previous dwelling, there is no documentation confirming that a residence once existed on this site. County aerial imagery dating back to 1939 only showed the tree line, and while the property owners confirmed that a well was once present, this alone does not verify the existence of a dwelling. Correspondence from Maureen from the auditor's office, who consulted with Kim in the assessor's office, indicates that no record confirming a previous residence could be found. It is also noted that while there is an existing driveway entrance, agricultural driveways are not treated the same as residential driveways for permitting purposes. If documentation could confirm that a dwelling once existed, rezoning would not be required, as the county allows reconstructions of residents on parcels with prior residential use. However, since this cannot be confirmed, rezoning is necessary for this request. Although this proposal is not considered speculative development, maintaining a family presence on the Chesmer property could also be achieved on the southern parcel, which carries a lower CSR rating. The intent to continue generational land use or gifting can likewise be accommodated on the lower CSR parcel, reducing the need to high impact, high value agricultural lands. With respect to site characteristics, the proposed home site would be surrounded by agricultural lands and therefore would not constitute a continuation of existing rural residential development unless located adjacent to another residential parcel. While direct access to the timber has been mentioned, the proposed zoning site is situated in the middle of a field and does not adjoin the timber or river. Access to these features would still be required driving regardless of the location. The southern parcel would also provide access to the timber and river without incorporating floodplain areas and could still accommodate a residence within the agricultural field. It should be noted that conflicting CSR values were initially identified during the review process. However, the CSR data used was verified through the updated beacon site, which corresponds with the USDA mapping. The county has consistently denied both family and non-family rezoning requests involving high CSR land in order to preserve the prime agricultural areas. Although the impact of this proposal may seem minimal at only 2 acres, repeated approvals of similar size could gradually deplete the county's agricultural resources. While denying building rights based solely on CSR could appear restrictive, the Planning and Zoning Commission have consistently applied these standards in a fair and uniform manner. The county's comprehensive plan emphasizes the protection of prime agricultural land, defined as that with a CSR of 55 or higher, remains a key priority in land use decisions. And so with that, since 2021, we've had a total of 124 rezoning requests. Of those, the P&Z have only denied 8 of those. And I do have those laid out. I can go through those. But mainly it's just denied for high CSR.
And there was no previous, and there was no, and there was ag land.
That is correct, yes. We had a Weber request in 2021 that did actually have it stated that the farmstead was demolished prior to the zoning ordinance, but that CSR combined average was a CSR of 90. So that one was denied. They found a different location, came back, presented, and then that request was approved. We had that same situation with Miller this year. Excuse me, the CSR was too high, they came back. And then the rest of them were just simply denied due to CSR. They are in attendance today as well, if you guys have any questions. We'll help you answer if you can.
Amber, before we go to them, and you said on the south end, there is a lower CSR.
There is, so pulling it up here on the imagery, so we've got the 69, 55, 43, 33, and 25. To try and incorporate them. Their secluded area, kind of like towards the middle of the field, so where the blue is, would get them a little bit closer to that area. I do believe if it took out a small portion of 69, the P and Z might consider that. But again, there's a nice chunk of 55 running through that south portion that would better accommodate the request.
What's the site distance on that south area? Would there be any issues with passing zones, especially with that driveway there?
I don't have
So it looks like the driveway's at the top of the hill.
the next string. With the current request, yes, it is. As far as this south portion. So again, the south portion looks like there is a driveway that's located close to the Chesmore property, the Chris Chesmore property. There is a entrance there already. Same thing,
Pretty well.
agricultural use. Again, that's kind of up to Brian if he wants to allow that to be used or establish a residential driveway.
You put in a rebuttal, but didn't really talk about what the document was that they put in. What they were trying to prove with that homestead last thing.
Want me to read everything from her email? Keith, do you want me to read every?
I guess I'm specifically looking at this tax statement that describes what their taxes is and this homestead exemption.
So that was part of the research from Maureen and Kim when I was trying to establish if a existing house was there. Since Larry mentioned that there was a well there, he thought that potentially that would incorporate a dwelling or structure. That's why I reached out to Maureen and Kim, and they couldn't find documentation proving.
I'm ready to inject. My Blair, on the deed of the land when they purchased that for 100 acres, they opted to receive a tax credit or a homestead credit on that property. So obviously it was a homestead at one time. There's pictures somewhere, photographs, and it shows it was trees all built around that area. So that's where I actually was working the field, and off to one side, I noticed the hole and it was a little cleaned up limestone well, and which I filled in, and it's remaining filled. But my dad bought it, he cleared that area, had hired it, dove and cleared it, and they said there's foundations, but that's, I was too young, I don't remember that. All he was what he was telling me, and I didn't find the well, that's the only thing I had. And then homestead credit that was given from government purchases. Purchase checks. When they purchased, yeah, they marked 100. Yeah, on this average.
So, but from 19 aerial photographs from 1930,
1939, it shows the
Forward.
tree line, but that's all you can make of it.
it's been farmed.
So are we necessarily refuting this document that's been recorded? Page 313, book 313, page 547. Are we saying that this isn't valid? That the
From the
homestead evaluation, this homestead credit isn't valid?
from the 1959, yes,
Are we saying that this is a fraudulent document?
thank you. Not that it's fraudulent, it's just our records didn't pull anything. And that's the part that was confusing. So it's being notated, I guess, is that way. I guess from 1939, it does show the tree line. From their abstract in the taxes for 1959 does state that. But again, documentation from the county side could not be authenticated, basically.
Okay, are we saying that these values, these taxable values are inconsistent with what we assess?
Are you looking at taxable values from 1939?
From, looks like 1959.
Not the values, no.
So we haven't refuted these values?
I'm just basically stating that from 1959, yes, it shows that it was on the abstract that they have. This abstract also showed two legal descriptions, which potentially could mean more than one property.
Southwest of section 100, southeast of
So-
section 12, excuse me, 10.
Yes,
In that photo here of the old farmstead, this is the trees that you're talking about, right? And those are gone now, right? Yeah.
I went up and looked at it and took a picture of it. I mean, you can see a driveway, but that field has been farmed for years and years and years. There's nothing that, it's not even evident that there was ever even trees there. Right now, it was in beans this last year.
So what we have is something recorded saying that there was a homestead credit.
On the deed, sure.
Yes, sir. So working forward, what's the plan for this parcel, for this,
Single dwelling.
you gonna do it yourself? Are you giving it to the family or you?
Donated to my granddaughter and her family.
Okay.
They both raised in Cannon County, graduated, and they would like to raise their family in Cannon County, and that's the only way they figured that they can do it is to.
It's not only the sixth generation on this farm.
Sixth generation. So we have Buchanan County Ordinance 50.9 that describes passing down property to one family from one generation to the next.
I don't think property was in your building.
I guess I can understand the reluctance of the planning and zoning commission to approve it simply because of the high CSR, and it would be taking productive farm ground out of production. If there's an alternate location within that property that could be agreed upon, that would have a much lower CSR, it would make more sense. That's,
It's not that much lower. And what would have happened if my grandpa didn't own that land there? You just never be able to build on their farm.
But they do own the land there. It's the same parcel.
I'm talking to the south. If he didn't own the south parcel.
But they do.
So 50.09 allows permitted principal uses, including accessory uses of dwellings for persons employed on the premises or a member of the immediate family which owns the farm.
and your point.
Seems like the family.
We have P and Z in the back. Can we have P and Z speak on it?
What's that?
We have a member of P and Z speak on it.
Sure. Good. See,
Kathy.
Kathy, question.
He's asking if you want to speak, Kathy.
I was hoping I didn't have to. I guess, again, it goes back to CSR. We have denied others that had, and this has been in production for a long time. It's not like they just did it a couple of years ago or something. It's been in production. CSR is probably the biggest thing. I guess going back to what you said, Keith, the going from family to family, does it indicate how many acres you can
There's
do?
no
Does it,
limitation on
is it
acres.
saying that, you have to buy a parcel of the farm?
I don't
and then
see a
you're gonna
limitation
prove
there.
it? I mean, it doesn't say that, right?
I don't see a limitation there.
And is that in our comprehensive plan? What is that?
This is an ordinance. I mean,
But since that all happened, I have received a card, you probably have received it too. It's a land auction, northeast of Independence, 213 acres, total. Part track one, it was 133 acres, 119.51 cropland with a CSR of 85.3. Of that 119, 25.13 tillable acres out of that, CSR of 88.4 and 94.38, with an average of 84.5, is enrolled in CRP, and they are collecting $30,484 annually. That contract expires in 2027. Tract number two is 80 acres with 58.97 acres of FSA cropland, carrying a 71.4. And of that 58.97, it's all enrolled in CRP, collecting annually $18,839.34 for a total of $49,324 to take out of production. An average of 85.3 and an average of 71.4, and paying them $49,324. My 2 acres, we're talking in a good year, possibly a 300 acres or 300 bushels of corn a year taken out of the production of that field. I don't see how that correlates with what they're saying here. Paying them that kind of money every year to pay 88.4 and 94.3 CSR acres, CSR two rated acres, and paying that kind of money every year to have it taken out of production.
Yeah.
2 acres.
And I understand what you're saying about the CRP, but the CRP also, that's a set aside. And what that does, it's to, once they're done with that set aside, that improves the soil. Once you take this out of production and put a house there, you can't tear that house down and have the soil improved. So those are, it's not even a comparable.
Well, the thing is though, it had a homestead on it and it was
That's,
torn
that's what
down.
they've been doing the last 20 years.
And it's farmable now.
Longer than 20 years, it's been 100 years almost. We haven't been able to visibly see it since 1939.
We have a document that says 1969, 1959.
But it wasn't visible in any of our stuff.
Doesn't mean,
And it's been farmed since that long.
doesn't mean it's
So
invalid. I just don't see how we can overwrite what we have in an ordinance, 50.9.
I don't think that that ordinance pertains to this. And if we start making an exception that
I don't
of what's
see that it's an
before us right
exception, right?
now,
I think that we're adhering to the ordinance.
if we make an exception for this one, then everything that we've done before is gonna come back in front of us for another exception. We set precedents.
I'm not gonna be afraid to do something that's right, because something may have been done wrong in the past.
You're gonna throw our planning and zoning board under the bus.
I didn't say that, those are your
That's
words,
essentially what happens.
okay? So are we refuting, ordinance 50.9?
Yes.
My question then would be, and this is just, okay, you will pay the 2 acres because it's a family and it's the farm. Let's say they decide to move away. They're no longer, and they sell it to somebody else, which could be, you know,
Absolutely.
20 years down the road, 25 years down the road.
They could break the 7 generation streak.
Yes. So that's not in our comprehensive plan. I mean,
Don't see that it is either.
that's just it. I'm not trying to wreck what they're trying to do. I'm just trying to go by what our comprehensive plan and CSR.
Thank you.
Chris, do we have something wrong with the recording? There it is.
Shouldn't be.
I like somebody's trying to dial in with somebody.
It was.
No, I checked it, everybody's there, so I'm not sure. And it shows it's recording, the microphone's working and the camera's working.
Thank you.
We've had several people come before us before that were part of, and Weber's is one of them that comes to mind. Amber mentioned it. They were actually working the farm with mom and dad, and they wanted to build, and they came back later and found a more suitable CSR on the land and built there instead. They were denied the first time around. These guys have been presented with a more suitable CSR that would be approved by planning and zoning. So, and it's still part of the farm. It's still part of what is owned by the grandparents. So I guess I'm not understanding why we would change from what we've previously done to now.
Good hearing, ordinance 50.9.
It's just not as suitable down there to,
Did you happen to read my email I sent?
I did.
Which one is it? I apologize.
I have a copy here if you'd like.
Is it in here or?
I did not attach it to the minutes, no, because I had received it after the fact.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
But yes, I can give you mine too.
You don't.
Yep.
We're going on 25 minutes.
I would just like to say that when there is a compromise location offered from the planning and zoning commission that would more closely follow the CSR, he said it was 55, majority of it was, that I think we really need to support the P and Z offering that option.
In that option, did they reevaluate the site distance?
What are you talking about?
When you come up over the back side of the hill, you can't necessarily
Oh,
see
okay.
what's behind the side of the back side of the hill. Was that evaluated as part of the P and Z negotiation?
No, and it's my understanding as well that this location that they're proposing is also on top of the hill.
Yeah, this would be on
Yes.
a better site distance for everybody on both sides of the hill could see it. Did you have something to say here?
I'm the daughter
Yes,
to
ma'am.
my parents here, and the farm is going to be willed to my brother and I. And my brother already is on the south side, so that's why we were potentially going to the north also.
didn't you talk to a
Children,
person that does the surveying and everything and said that could be an issue with the development project?
We went on the same parcel. He is.
because he's already down there. He's already subbed off from that parcel.
Yeah, he has it, I guess it's the north property, I assume from the image up there would be the location that they're talking about, I believe.
Yeah, my brother's house is already on that property.
Yeah,
This
parcel.
is-
On that parcel, yeah, on that parcel, I'm sorry. Not to mention, there's two other homes right to the south of there, so they would be right beside three homes where on the north side, up on the hill, there's back to the south, my grandparents, and then right across from them is their houses, and there's no houses around any of that other area.
I don't read it. You have it, right?
Yes, we will.
I already have it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
You're okay.
These comments were written from our attorney of law,
Sorry, they were written by,
our attorney.
okay.
Right.
So your attorney is also saying that there was a prior residence, so it's not buried.
Yeah.
Sure.
So in that, but it's not parceled off.
That parcel was bought in 1959. There was still the homestead written on there, and there was the whole.
But I'm assuming though that has gone from a residential back to ag.
Yes. That's why
So
we're
there's no
here.
longer homestead
That's why we're here
credit.
to do that.
I, for one, am reluctant to override the planning and zoning, especially when there is a lower CSR available within the property. And I understand that it may not be completely ideal for what you're looking at, but, we've had this issue come up several times in the last few years. And most of them, we were able to work out an agreeable location within the property. And I think we're trying to be empathetic to what you want to do, but we have an obligation based on our comprehensive plan to protect the agricultural interests of the county. And 2 acres at a time doesn't seem like a whole lot, but, good Lord's not building any more soil for us, and, we have to protect what we have. That's my feeling.
Yeah, to add on to that, I mean, we also have an obligation to adhere to our county ordinances.
You ready to close the public hearing?
I have a copy of what Keith is.
Just for, oh, yeah, there's someone for it.
I think it's the ordinance was done and then the commission or then the planning and zoning did the comprehensive land use plan. So basically that ordinance is stating these are allowable uses under that 50.9, and that's when the zoning comes in and it gets more detailed.
Yes.
I get a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we need to make a decision on the, Cole Allison Davis zoning request.
I'll make a motion to accept the zoning request.
I get a second? Die for lack of second. I, have another motion.
I'll make a motion to deny the zoning request with hopes that they come back to us with that new location.
I would second that. All in favor?
Nay.
Roll call on that.
Yes, please.
Kurtz, aye.
Wheeling, nay.
Vogel, I don't want to set precedents.
I gave you the wrong page.
Kathy, I can print it out. I have it pulled up.
Thank you. Still have numbers on it.
Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Hey, folks, hopefully we can come up with a alternative location.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, county vehicles.
Okay, I asked for this to be put on the agenda because planning and zoning have 2 older vehicles suitable for driving out to do like a septic permit or maybe well testing, but not suitable to drive to and from trainings that are out of county.
What year are those?
Fusion, I think, was a 10 or 11.
2010 Fusion and
Colorado, I believe, is
It's
19.
19, yeah, that one is
2021, maybe it was called.
23, I think.
Okay.
I think. But yeah.
and the Colorado does not have cruise control on it. And the Fusion is, I guess, not compatible for cell phones and that kind of usage and it's hands-free driving.
Mhm.
So meanwhile, their vehicles suitable for driving around our county roads and the Fusion is all rusted out, by the way. I looked at it when I came in. For Amber and Cody's safety, I would like to allow them to use their vehicle, their personal vehicle, and get the mileage reimbursement when they go to trainings.
Seems like should be something left to the discretion of the department head.
Right, the department head keeps getting
Pushback.
pushback.
No, I'm not gonna take the blame for this. I questioned it because it was stated in the handbook and the handbook was approved that way. If you guys choose to override the handbook for a department, that is ultimately up to you. The deal is when we get employee reimbursements, if we don't understand something, I question it. You guys want to change it for that department? That is up to you. I'm not picking on Amber.
And I understand that, and I never even said your name, I never was even gonna go that direction, I just was gonna leave it up pushback.
That's, you know where it comes from. I mean, I have to. I mean, I have to question the mileage. I
Right.
have to make sure that the employees, not that they're making a mistake on purpose, just sometimes things happen. I make mistakes.
Right.
That's why we question them.
But to your point, we need to try to create a policy that's wide enough to cover all these instances. If it's inconsistent in the employee manual, then, or the employee handbook, then it's probably where we should start.
So that's where it comes from,
Yeah.
you know, or the direction of the board for planning and zoning for that is what I was after, what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate here.
Please.
I grew up and never had cruise control till 1999, I think. And I'm sure there's other people out here that never even knew what cruise control was. And we didn't have any navigation other than a map. And I'm sorry, those are nice conveniences. There are hands-free options for phones that don't require it in the vehicle. There are hand-free options. I just, on the one hand, do we need to look for a different vehicle for them or? I mean, my truck is a 2001. And yeah, it's getting kind of crusty and rusty, but it's still dependable. I try and keep it maintained. But, there's gotta be some other option, whether we look for another vehicle, but it's not gonna happen tomorrow.
I believe that Amber's budget had another vehicle in it and we told her no. So she'd already gone down that avenue and been told no. I mean, I feel like every time they try to resolve a problem, it's coming, they're being shut down. And so I am essentially trying to help them resolve this problem and allow them out of county mileage and a lot of times she can use that mileage for some of her grants, to
Yeah.
offset the grants.
Using that grant was a great idea. I mean, it cost the county 20 cents per mile and for that 70% per mile, so.
And I believe, like the public health department with a lot of grants, they do also, I'm gonna say if Griffin was driving or Dan, whomever, driving to a conference, a training with their personal vehicle, they submit it at the 70 cents, well, and it's different because they don't have a vehicle to drive. And then whatever the percentage that the grant would reimburse, they turn that in and then they get the reimbursement for it.
Seems like we should ask Ashland to reevaluate that employee handbook and just write in these caveats.
Well, and I think that the only department that this affects is planning and zoning,
Potentially.
because
guess
public
we have
health
to
got rid of
remember.
theirs.
We have to remember as the board of supervisors, we have to try and spend our funds wisely that the county entrusts with us. That's what our job is. And to me, I guess they should have thought about that when they bought that truck. I don't know.
That wasn't
But-
even, they weren't here.
I'm sorry?
Neither one,
No,
was in the position that she's in, and Cody wasn't even here.
Well, I think a lot of that stems from the fact when Chad bought it, he had had the majority of his training and things like that. And Amber and Cody are playing catch up with the training. And I think that's the difference of why it was. And I do also recall when that was being bought that there was a former supervisor that was very critical on how much money was being spent. And so I believe that's why Chad went with basically the plain Jane pickup, due to the fact that he didn't want to spend very much money on it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, John.
No. I'm married.
I propose that we have, our HR gal, actually rewrite the here so that we include these caveats.
What caveats, just for this department?
No, to, allow the department head to be able to make those evaluations.
So basically take that paragraph Q or section Q, whatever it is, take that completely out.
Or at least leave it to the discretion of the department head.
I would love to have a department vehicle to drive back and forth. Let's put a lot of miles on my vehicle.
And
I
then,
happen to know there's a 2010 Focus
then the other
Where?
aspect is.
sitting on the park lot.
The other aspect is writing in the language about the grant. I'm not sure, but that language is in there.
It's very simple. If they have, and it's just like public health does, if she's getting mileage reimbursement through grants, perfect. Also, it's got, the claim has to be submitted, 0.70 cents times whatever the miles are that they put on. And then she can document it on her end, that part of it's being reimbursed for a grant. The county's paying the same, it's still coming out of her budget that she budgets for. All that it is a follow-up with the auditors. So they know that, okay, hey, we paid her $100 and whatever dollars in mileage, but this percentage of it or this amount was paid back by a grant.
Kind of with Keith, though. I think the department head needs to have discretion.
I mean, they're the ones we hold accountable to it, so.
Right. Into the budget, so. Then I'm voting Keith.
I'll make that motion that, we ask, Ashley, our HR director, to rewrite the, that portion of the vehicle usage policy to give discretion, more discretion to the department head, as well as plug in language, effectively, discussing reimbursement for grants.
Second.
Favor?
That,
Nay. Paul.
yeah,
Birds, no.
Wheeling, aye.
Vogel, aye.
Excuse me.
Okay. Board and commission updates. Let's go first. Yeah,
Looking for more too.
I'll go ahead and start. Thanks. Okay, getting everything organized there. I was at, Central Iowa Detentions, meeting Friday, and right now, since the 28E was rescinded, we are still listed as a member county, but we are a non-voting member until the new 28E is negotiated and submitted. We will stay at membership rates. So the rate right now is $120 a day, and we pay no additional charge for exigent kids that are more trouble to deal with, whereas non-member counties have to pay that. Our rate will be going up to $150 a day in November for all member counties. The non-member counties will be paying $350 a day. So it's still a significant change. And if you compare that to Waterloo, member counties right now, which we're a member there also, is $175 a day. So it's still $25 less per day at Central Iowa. They are trying to keep their membership high, which is right now they have 22 counties that are members of or Central Iowa Detention. So
Sounds like that membership rate is, we're utilizing it, it's,
oh yeah,
yeah. That's what we're saying.
Currently, we've paid over $19,000 since July 1. So as the rates go up, would you say November 1st? I'm assuming there will be a major budget amendment that we will have to do.
or have the kids start getting better.
Yeah, good luck with that. So I'm not sure where we're gonna get this funding. I don't know.
Okay.
It's the same place we get funding for medicine at the jail.
And that's basically all I have to cover for right now.
Sure. Northeast Iowa Workforce, Regional Economic Development Corp. My goodness, struggling with this one. Regional Economic Development, we'll go with that one. They closed a couple loans. One was for a poultry company for $50,000. So these are revolving loan funds. They also closed one for a lures company for $125,000. Currently in their legacy revolving loan fund, these are loans that are available to these communities. And they're primarily directed to creating jobs in the community. So their legacy revolving loan fund has $325,000 in it right now. And then there's a second one in the CARES revolving loan fund that's sitting at $61,000. Regional Economic Development is resubmitting their application as a planning grant. So that was another item. Pioneer Cemetery Tool is this Saturday at 9 a.m. We're leaving the courthouse at 9 a.m. Yeah, Saturday.
I think it's 8.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I did meet with the Library Association and asked them your question about the rural residents and the Rural Services Fund pays for the county residents. So that is validated that they can go in since they're rural taxpayers. That's where that comes up. We did have some conversation about whether or not they were a nonprofit or a public organization. So we're still working on those conversations.
I have something with that. Sean did email back this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta find it.
The background is there was some conversation about whether or not they were a nonprofit. According to Secretary of State, I believe, they are not registered as a nonprofit. And that's essentially what Sean's email referred to.
I think they're a governmental aid.
They're a governmental agency
Yeah.
because they are within the 2080 agreement that has been in place for numerous years. I know, Keith, within your email, you stated that the association is paying out these funds. They are not. The county issues checks to all the libraries and the ones that do not have a library that have signed the 28E agreement. There's a formula within that 2080 agreement. The funds get paid out to each library. And then they're 10% of, so 90% gets paid out to the libraries. 10% of it goes to the association. So they're not paying out any of this funding that we give them.
Yeah.
So like Quasqueton, Raleigh, Brandon, Hazelton, Stanley, if they choose to go into the 2080 agreement to allow services for those residents, there's a formula that's calculated. They are billed, that money is submitted to the county and we disperse it.
And that part of the 2080 that identified those funds go to the individual libraries. It also said within that 2080 that those individual towns would control their audits and things like that. And my question was, how is the association that 10% audited? Is that,
No idea. We have nothing to do with the association. They're not a county entity. It'd be no different than like the little historical societies throughout we can't micromanage them. We have no say in it. That is up to their organization to take care of what needs to be done and laws need to be followed.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. That's the last of my updates.
Oh, okay, all right. We had Buchanan County Economic Development on Tuesday.
You're welcome.
And we wrapped up the old leadership, the old business from leadership. We got an update on a partner event. There was, that was being held on Wednesday, I believe. I did get to go to the partner event. The chili cook-off, did you go?
Yes.
Who won?
Well, the mayor's one went to somebody from Buchanan County Hospital. And the other three, I don't remember.
Did you have a favorite?
Yeah, I voted for the one that won. I had no idea who it was.
And we got, more information, but I'm gonna write a support letter for Rag Ride. We did have some member comments and Independence is on phase 2, grant received for the trails. And they put lights on Lover's Lane and Gibby's is open. In Fairbank, they have a new business downtown. It's like a baby boutique. And I don't know the name of it. Buckeye Community College had a manufacturing conference in the automation building. The Legion in Aurora has, they're starting their breakfast in Aurora at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. And Stanley is going to get rural water, which is exciting for Stanley. That will help their housing and that will help them grow potentially. In Brandon, they have a bar with new owners, and I don't know who the new owners are, but apparently the bar is busy.
Used to run the Legacy in Jessup. Up in Hilton, I can't think of the guy's name.
Okay. It's good to know. And then on Thursday, they had,
Okay, who knows his name?
okay, on Thursday, I had mental health and disability services of East Central Region / disability access point. The last paperwork from the region will be finalized December 31st, so the places that we do business with, they have until December 31st to turn in their final bills for the services that were provided. And I guess anything after that, then the state won't pay. I don't know how the state's going to handle that, but that's on them at that point in time. Julie Davison got named as the official CEO of the Disability Access Point. And we're gonna have a meeting maybe mid-December, about halfway through. And then there'll be a final claims date in January, after January 1st. So they're trying to get all the paperwork finished up and finalized and completed and wound down so they can open up the new disability access point for District 7. On Friday, I had the first judicial district, actually now it's state DOC. And they're trying to get some new services into the facilities for the people that are residing in the facilities, like some religious stuff and drug and alcohol prevention, getting them ready to be released. So there was a lot of good work there. And that's pretty much it for this week.
Okay, we'll go to public comments.
Start. Just for clarification with regard to the Buchanan County, the libraries of Buchanan County Association. They'll be before you in December. They come every time before budget time because all of their funds that they have are all provided to them by Buchanan County. So they'll come before you and provide their budget information and their request in terms of what the funding they need for the following year. And then the supervisors that approve that, Chris then cuts a check to each of the individuals that's either has a library or 2080, as she mentioned. And then the remaining 10%, which is approximately
$1,800,
how much?
little over $1,800 last year.
Okay.
Actually, last 2 years.
So then that $1,800 or whatever it is then goes to the association, and the association only meets twice a year. So when the meeting you attended was only one of the 2 meetings. They then decide on activities for all the libraries within the county. It's a countywide activity. It's not specific to a individual city's library. And they write approximately 2 to 3 checks per year. So it's not like they're a big organization by any stretch of the imagination. And my understanding, and Chris said something different than what I thought it was. I thought that they relied upon the county, since the county, they provide you with their information in terms of their budgeting stuff, and they provide you with regard to their request. And then Chris writes the checks for all of it, other than the checks, individual checks that are written out by the association for events. Like, for example, they had a foam blaster event that they had to pay something for, and that's a check that was then to be written out of there. And I mean, I don't know everything about it. And a mayor from each of the of the different, libraries, participates on an annual basis. So last year, I was the mayor. That was my turn up. So I attended their two meetings and talked about, so that's why I have a little bit more knowledge than someone else might. Keith, the only thing that I'm concerned about is I heard that you had filed a complaint with the state as to their financial handling of monies. And I just wanted to clarify whether that was true or not, because I'm hoping it's not.
No, what I had asked was whether or not a nonprofit could be paid with public funds. And
Okay,
the answer was clearly no, and that's why we went down this line of question to determine the statement of origination.
okay, and that was all clarified for you then.
I think so far, I mean, we still have some questions about the audit and open meetings, open records, I'm sure, but I'm sure we'll get into that conversation.
But that's, I mean, the county can't dictate to them how that's handled because they are not a county entity. That is something that has to be done within the association, possibly with guidance from the mayors, from the cities. But we can't. I guess I consider it, and I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We're overstepping our boundaries with this association. I mean, if the cities, any of the mayors on there feel that the books need to be audited, maybe it can be done when their cities do their books. I mean, but it's not the county's responsibility. I mean, Sean clearly stated that within his email that they are considered with the 2080 agreement, a government entity. I mean, that would be like us going in and requesting that we audit, that the county's responsible for auditing the Winthrop Library, the Aurora Library, the Lamont Library, the Independence Library, the Jessup Library, Fairbank Library. I mean, we don't oversee their books.
And those things are already established in that 2080 from 2010. So that was just the question, is to say, you know, how are you auditable? Are you auditable? So I'm sure we'll shake it out.
Yeah, obviously it makes me nervous when I hear something about potentially filing some type of a complaint against an organization like that. That's here for the betterment of the citizens of Buchanan County. I mean, that's its sole purpose, and they're not involved with anything other than the libraries themselves. And, you know, they're just librarians. They're not, they don't have a degree in finance or anything like that. They pay the money, they get the money in that Chris provides to them, and they write the checks out for the events that they have, and whatever's left is in the bank account. And I think they reported the financials at the time of the meeting, which they do every meeting. And, you know, they send out the minutes, and they send out the notice and all the other things that for open meetings. And I know that I've been at meetings where other people have attended, so they certainly were aware of them, because I know that Rick Wolfcott came to one of the meetings last year when I was there. So anyway, I don't know, but
Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but we levy for the library, and all we do is turn around and disperse it out to the association.
Absolutely.
but no, members, but that association doesn't get the check for the individual cities.
No,
Or,
no. The check is cut to each individual library.
right, not to the association.
And those,
But it's funded by the library levy itself. Right.
we don't have a specific library levy. It comes out of the rural services.
Services.
Yep.
Which is how you get your rule.
And I know we talked about it last Monday, but just for clarification purposes as well, anybody, whether you live in Brandon or whether you live in Raleigh, can come to the Independence Public Library, the Winthrop Library, the Jessup Library, and they all of the events that are put on are all welcome to anybody that lives in anywhere can attend those events. Like when they have authors that come in, when they have kids programs, all of those are available to everybody, whether you're part of the 2080 agreement or not. The only part of it that they cannot allow is a resident of Raleigh or Brandon, because there are two cities that haven't joined the 2080 agreement. The only problem that they have is they cannot check out a book, because Iowa state law specifically says that it's a free public library, and They can't enter into separate agreements with individuals and say, okay, well, these individuals, I live in Raleigh, but the city of Raleigh doesn't belong to a 28 agreement, so I like my own library card that I'll pay for myself. Cannot be done because state law does not allow it. Independence, for example, was the first free public library in the state of Iowa. And what had happened before that was you actually had to, people got books because they belonged to it, that they belonged to a club, or they had a membership fee. So they had a membership fee which allowed them to check out books. But as soon as the state law went into effect regarding funding of the libraries itself, that allowed everybody in the public, not just a special few that had enough money to afford to be a member of the library, to be able to use the public libraries. And that's why that was so important when that happened. And if we allowed a resident of another city that wasn't part of our agreement to be checking out books or have a library card, then that would be in violation of the state law, which is why it can't be done. It's not that they don't want to help these people and they don't want them to. I mean, it's not a tremendous amount of money that they're talking about in terms of what the charge is for the additional cities. But if those additional cities want to be involved, then the association would love to have them in it. So I hope that clarifies it a little bit.
Anything else for public comment? Kathy?
Kathy Cole, resident of Buchanan County. My first thing with the owl, when you guys were talking about that, I many times watched. I agree with Brad where it's important to hear all of you. This is a small room. I've never had an issue, even the people in the back. Talks pretty loud. So, I mean, unless, and you can ask people to speak up, but I don't know that you need to upgrade. I've never had a problem. If somebody's speaking, they are heard. My other thing is, Keith, I'm looking at this. We don't have anything in our book is like this, our handbook. Where do you get your information then? Is it the same thing? Because we don't have, when you put out 50.09 or something, none of our stuff is documented that way. So I guess I kind of want clarification because I don't see anything in here, the things that we talked about today, that it would have overturned anything that we had done.
Okay. Thanks. We'll get with each other and figure out what you're.
Yes, I would appreciate that.
Thank you. That might clear up a bunch of things.
If yours is like ours, we have ordinances, as you know, in the city, and then we have a zoning ordinance as well. So our zoning book is completely different than our ordinance book.
That's what I would imagine. And I guess I'm kind of wondering why
Sure.
mine is different. I'm looking at what you have. There's a few things on this that are more explanatory than what we've got in our book.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Last week in the minutes, we did approve signing a letter for the support of rag rights, and I've got that drafted and signed, and we'll transmit that to them this week. So, and I think Brian Kiley already sent one to them. Anything else? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.